time with me, 1200 years, to Japan in 800 AD. You're a scholar living during the Fujiwara period. You value the arts, poetry, nature, and sensitivity to human emotion. Like many of your countrymen who also are scholars, monks, or people of the court, you're a Pure Land Buddhist. That means you believe that you reach salvation, also known as the Pure Land or Paradise, through your faith in the Amida Buddha. As Pure Land Buddhism emerged, so did many types of art depicting the Amida Buddha. One of the best known is the Descent of Amida over the mountains, a painted silk scroll. We don't know who created this beautiful scroll, but he was likely a court artist, like one of the most popular during that time, named Jucho. Look at the Buddha Amida. His calm and peaceful face is very pale, and he has elongated ears. What tells us he is a Buddha? The dot on his forehead, called an urna, and his head bump, called an ujnisha. His mudra, or hand gesture, is one of both hands turned outward, with thumb and forefinger forming circles over the chest. This mudra symbolizes the 9 levels of rebirth in Amida's Pure Land. Directly below the Amida Buddha are 2 bodhisattvas, enlightened beings who have delayed entering paradise to help others attain enlightenment. Shishi and Kannon stand on brown lotus flowers, which are positioned on clouds. The clouds seem to direct us to the Buddha. Notice the tips of these clouds seem to float toward him. The 2 bodhisattvas wear tall crowns that completely hide their hair and elegant necklaces. Their clothing is free-flowing, seemingly constructed of multicolored strips embroidered together. Sishi, representing wisdom, is praying to the Buddha with her hands together across her chest. Kannon, representing compassion, holds a lotus flower. You can tell if you look very closely at the multiple tiny holes in the center and the teardrop-shaped petals. Below Sishi and Kannon are 6 other figures. 2 on each side of them look non-human, with bright red, mean faces. The 2 dreamlike figures, peaceful and serene in their flowy dresses, seem to also be bodhisattvas. Notice their halos representing those of the Buddha Amida, Sishi, and Kannon. Amid the natural greens and browns of the scroll, our eyes are drawn to the pale white faces of the Buddha and bodhisattvas. The white stands out, making them the focal points of the scroll. The path to the Pure Land is visually easy to follow. The simplicity of the background, the mountains and small fluffy trees, symbolizes the peacefulness, uncomplicated nature, and purity of nirvana. It could also symbolize emptying the mind, becoming free from worry, letting go of everything around you. Other pieces of art created around the same time share similar, still important messages. The most well-known sculpture of the Amida Buddha is at the Byodo in Japan's Phoenix Hall. This fabulous gold leaf and lacquer on wood sculpture, made in 1053 by Jucho, is very different from the scroll in that it shows us the Amida Buddha's humanity, his human proportions. Jucho intentionally made his sculpture approachable, encouraging an intimate relationship between people of this world and the Buddha. Notice his rounded head, structured neck, sloped shoulders, and soft knees. I believe Jucho is illustrating through this structure that the Buddha is among all of us, except for the elongated ears, Ushnisha, and Urna, he's not that different from regular humans, but he's gold like a treasure, and the mandorla shows the magnificent light which radiates from him. The mandorla is also evident in another scroll, the Hayaraigu of Amida and Bodhisattvas. Notice the Amida Buddha at the top with the mandorla or halo extending past the Bodhisattvas. I think the artist or artists added the extra Bodhisattvas to show that there are many other Bodhisattvas out there, not just the two depicting in the Amida Buddha over the mountains. The Bodhisattvas have a job in helping people, not just the enlightened ones, but also those who suffer. Here you can see that they are headed slant down towards a priest in some kind of open house. I think that this gives a perfect contrast from the descent of Amida over the mountains, because the artists actually show a person about to die and be raised up by the escorted bodhisattvas to the Pure Land. It gives even more of a visual picture of a person headed up towards the Pure Land. As pointed out before, believing in the Amida Buddha was a way for people to reach salvation, even though this type of worship was first seen favored among the Japanese court at the time. It has now rounded out to a common Japanese tradition today. The Pure Land Buddhist faith emerged, and so did many types of artwork depicting the Amida Buddha, which shows so much of Buddhist religion and history back to the Fujiwara period.